Today, we're diving deep into the intense opposition Israel's government is facing, and not from the outside, but from within its own society. We're going to look at this dissent on three totally different fronts: the raw personal anguish on the streets, the sharp political attacks happening in parliament, and the fierce ideological battles that are just raging online. Let's get right into it.
And we're going to start right here with this incredibly powerful quote. Now, this wasn't said by a politician or a pundit. This was screamed by the mother of a hostage directly to a government minister. You know, this isn't just a political disagreement. It's the sound of profound personal pain. It really captures the explosive emotional pressure that's building up inside the country right now. And that quote, it takes us directly to our first front of dissent, the families of the hostages. Their plea isn't abstract. It's not about policy papers. It is a visceral, desperate fight for the actual lives of their loved ones.
I mean, just picture the scene. You have families blocking government offices, confronting ministers right out in public. Their grief and their frustration have just completely boiled over into these direct, unfiltered confrontations. They feel ignored, and you can tell their patience it's run out. This isn't just another protest. For them, it's a life-or-death struggle, and it's all playing out for everyone to see.
This right here, this quote shows you the absolute depth of that desperation. It's the voice of a parent who feels completely and totally abandoned by the state, someone who's been pushed to the absolute edge. It's a really stark warning that for some people, the system has failed so badly they feel like they have nothing left to lose.
So, what is it that they're actually demanding? Well, their goals are really direct and crystal clear. First, they want transparency. One mother literally screamed, "Tell the public the truth." That sums it up. Second, they want a deal for the hostages who are still alive to be the absolute #1 priority, above any other military goal, above any other political goal. And third, they are demanding an end to what they see as just crippling political inaction.
Okay, so that's the street. Now for our second front, we're going to pivot from those emotional pleas to a much more formal, political assault that's happening inside Israel's own parliament, the Knesset.
So this was the scene right on the Knesset floor. You have a member of Knesset, Naama Lazimi, standing up before the prime minister and delivering this formal 5-point indictment. This isn't just your typical political opposition speech. This is a direct accusation, framing the government's actions and inactions as a series of deep, profound failures.
So let's break down these 5 core accusations from her speech. You can see how she directly connects the government's own policies to the failures of October 7th, even going so far as to accuse them of funding Hamas. She also brings in these broader themes, like claiming personal corruption has become a national plague and that racism was used to divide the country. And crucially, she echoes the family's central plea, the one about abandoning the captives. This isn't just random criticism. It's a structured indictment from inside the halls of power.
From the Knesset, we shift to our third and final front, the fierce ideological war being waged online. And here, the debate moves beyond policy and gets into the very moral and legal definition of the conflict itself.
Now, central to this whole online debate is an academic framework known as the 10 stages of genocide. It is absolutely crucial to understand what this is. It's a tool for analysis developed by scholars to study past events like the Holocaust or the Rwandan genocide. It is not a legal definition. But online, people are using this framework to argue their case, and as you can imagine, it's sparking an incredibly intense back and forth.
Here's just a little look at how this framework is being applied in these debates. As you can see, arguments and rebuttals are forming around these specific stages. So for dehumanization, one side will point to an official's comment about human animals, while the other side argues that it was taken out of context and referred to Hamas's conduct, not an entire ethnicity. For extermination, the high death toll is cited as evidence, but the counterargument focuses on military practices, like giving warnings before a strike, which they claim is completely inconsistent with genocidal intent. It just shows you how polarized and deeply contested this online debate has become.
And the rebuttals get pretty detailed. For example, some people argue that warning civilians by phone and with flyers is just fundamentally at odds with an intent to exterminate them. Others make statistical arguments, claiming the civilian-to-combatant death ratio, while obviously tragic, is actually low for this kind of modern urban warfare. The core of the counterargument is that many of these actions being labeled as signs of genocide are, in their view, standard, if brutal, practices of war.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the personal, the political, and the ideological, a picture starts to emerge of a nation at a really profound crossroads, just grappling with these incredibly deep internal divisions.
What we've really seen today is that the pressure on Israel's leadership isn't just coming from one place. It's a three-front battle, happening all at once. It's coming from the streets, fueled by the raw, visceral grief of the hostage families. It's coming from inside the parliament, with these formal political indictments. And it's coming from the public square, where everyday citizens are fiercely debating the very soul of the nation's actions.
And all of this leaves us with one critical question. When a government faces such powerful opposition from its own people, from grieving mothers, from political rivals, and from a deeply divided public, how does it even begin to navigate the path forward? That, right there, is the fundamental challenge facing Israel today.